Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to episode 238 of the Boys in the Booth podcast. Cody Abrams and Melbourne with you for this one, and we're going to keep this one short and sweet. We've got an interview to get to in a little bit, but guys, we'll start it off with really the only thing to talk about, and that is the Gr8est. Alexander Ovechkin, now the greatest goal scorer in NHL history. 895 goals in his career. He finally did it today against the New York Islanders. Boy, that was really something. Chad got a great video on his TV in his condo in Toronto, so you can check that out on the Boys in the Booth Instagram. But it's all over social media right now. All the buzz is about this, and rightfully so. The Gr8est does it, and he gets to 895 guys in the same amount of games that Wayne Gretzky finished off his career with, which is just absolutely incredible. Sometimes sports just has a way of lining things up beautifully. And that was certainly the case right here. The way everything was done after the goal was scored, everybody coming out and the picture and the speeches and all of that with Gretzky and Ted Leonsis, Gary Bettman, Ovi's wife and his two kids, his mom, all of his teammates, everybody on the ice. Not even in the Capitals building either in New York. And those Islander fans, boy, they can certainly create a hostile environment. I thought everybody was very well behaved and showed a lot of class. So he did it, boys. 895, Alex Ovechkin, the greatest goal scorer in NHL history. Let's get into it.
Yeah, I had a really busy day of kind of I got a toolbox and was cleaning up the garage and doing all this. And then all of a sudden, you guys were all texting in the group chat that this was happening. Had no clue it was a matinee game. So I completely missed it. But obviously, when I saw the text, I ran to the TV and tuned in to see sort of everything that was going on after. And yeah, you summed it up pretty good there, Harp. Like, just unbelievable the circumstance that it's the same amount of games and it's on the goalie that had the most games played against him without allowing a goal. And it's just like so poetic almost. I couldn't believe that would be the case. And yeah, it's exciting. He's the greatest of all time for sure.
Yeah, for Sorokin going into that game, knowing he's never been scored on by Alex Ovechkin, and it's just set up perfectly for Ovi to pass him after almost doing it the game prior and costing me some money. Damn it, Case, you were right. I probably shouldn't have bet on that hat trick, but I really wanted it that night. Didn't get it, but yeah, after like just setting it up perfectly, Sorokin had to just... a part of him is probably like, you know what, I'm going to go down in the history books as well for the guy that was scored on by Ovechkin, and he got the pad tap you guys saw on the screen afterwards. And Ovi said to him, thank you to Sorokin for letting me score and pass this record. Couldn't have done it without you, which I thought was pretty funny. So yeah, just for him to go into this game thinking, God, if I could only shut out this team or shut out Ovi in particular, that would be great. But yeah, part of them is also just like, well, I'm part of history now. So it was crazy. I didn't tune in until about 12:45 today. I missed the first little bit of the game. I totally forgot, just like you, Case, that it was a 12:30 start. So thankfully, I only missed a few minutes, and Ovi had like 2 shots on net. I heard the commentators as soon as I turn it on, and Ovi has 2 shots on net. And I'm like, oh my God, like I can't, it could have just happened so fast. And then the game goes on, and they get the power play. They go to commercial break. When they come back from commercial break, they're rolling his highlights and kind of teeing it all up really nicely. And then, of course, they have the offensive zone face-off for the power play. It goes back into the cap zone. And then as they're coming in to the offensive zone, out of nowhere, it seemed, Ovi just absolutely ripped it by Sorokin. And yeah, you mentioned it off the top, Harp. I got that video up my TV just because I wanted to, I wanted to remember the moment. I wanted to savor it, but I also wanted to, get some cheap views and some cheap likes out of it and post that on our socials, which I did. But but I almost missed it. Like I started recording and you can look at the video, like when it starts, that's when I hit the record button. I did not cut it at all. Like from the start, and I almost missed it. He scores like 2 seconds into my video, which is just crazy. And you can hear me laughing like partway through the video. Like I give a little chuckle to myself because I'm like, Jesus, like I almost missed this. I almost blew it. But incredible to watch. Like it's one of those moments where, you know, for hockey fans around the world, especially guys our age who have watched Ovi, you know, from the very start, you're going to remember where you were on this day and all the buzz about it and all the talk about it after it happened as well. Like you're going to remember all of that, just like you remember where you were when you saw Connor McDavid score the Four Nations face-off game-winning goal, and just like you remember where you were when you saw Sidney Crosby do the same in 2010. This is a bit different. It's not for that, you know, Canadian pride, so maybe it's not on the same level, but I don't think anyone thought when Ovi entered the league that he would have nearly 900 goals and he would pass the great one for the greatest goal scorer of all time. So for us to be able to watch it live is incredible.
I think the Florida Panthers knew, and that's why they tried to draft him early 3 times.
Yeah, that's right. They did.
And Chad, like back to your point, how you were saying like you almost missed it. I mean, it's so true. Like it happened so quickly. And like I would go to the kitchen to like, you know, grab something or whatever this afternoon. I was watching it with Emerson, who's a huge Caps fan and loves Ovi and all that, of course. And he's like, hey, like Harp, hurry up, like, you know, grab whatever you're getting from the fridge or the cupboards or whatever and get back out here because you just never know. And he had a couple of chances already. I missed like the first 3 minutes of the first period, but then was able to watch it from there. And so when they get that power play, it's like, all right, like, you know, Em and I are sitting together in the living room upstairs and in our house, and we've got it on. We're like, all right, here we go. The Caps have a power play. And I'm like, could this be it? And then 2 seconds later, bang, it's in the back of the net. And then it all starts. And, you know, I'll talk about Emerson for just a few seconds here. Obviously would have been great to get him on. He had to work tonight, but he loves the Capitals. He loves Alex Ovechkin. He always has. He got a toque actually with that Gr8est logo on it and everything. And he had his Ovechkin t-shirt. And I mean, he's got several of those, and he just absolutely loves Ovi and the Caps. And I could see tears in his eyes when this happened, you know? And so it was so special, like one of those beautiful kind of moments where it goes in and we both jump up at the same time and we're hugging each other. I'm congratulating him and everything. And you can see how much it means to him. And as someone who is a fan of the player and of the team that he plays for, obviously, but this means a lot to all of us hockey fans everywhere. It's a part of history. And I think about how, like, when we talk to our dads or like guys that are older than us and they're talking about something that happened in their time and like, oh, you should have seen that. Like, oh, that was way before your time, like that sort of thing. But you're talking about it with them. Now we have something that like one day we can share with, whether it's our own kids or, you know, just younger people in general down the line, that like, yeah, we got to see that. That was a big part of our, you know, era and in hockey, growing up watching hockey. So it's truly a special time for us, and feel very fortunate to have been able to witness this kind of greatness from Alex Ovechkin. BetterHelp is the paid partner of this video. The new year is a blank space for you to write a new story. BetterHelp makes it more convenient to get you started. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy more comfortable and convenient. They carefully make sure therapists on the platform are well qualified, and their customer support team is there to help you if you have any questions. With over 7,000 reviews and a 4.5 rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform you can trust. Your next chapter starts today. Get 10% off your first month of BetterHelp online therapy at betterhelp.com/boysinthebooth in paid partnership with BetterHelp.
We interrupt this podcast to tell you about one of our favorite partners, Sign Up Expert. If you're a sports bettor, whether brand new, casual, or hardcore, listen very carefully because this ad is for you. Guys, line shopping for the best odds matters, and that's why any profitable sports bettor needs to be using multiple sports books to maximize their profits. Thankfully, there has never been a better time to get signed up, and we are here to connect you with the best promotions industry-wide. When you use our link at signupexpert.com/boysinthebooth, you can get access to all of the top sports books in your region, along with a review of each platform and its unique benefits. Most importantly, all of these sports books have valuable sign-up offers for new users. And when you register through our link, you will automatically receive the top offer at each one, allowing you to start line shopping with an enhanced bankroll. Guys, it's simple. When you use multiple sports books, you ensure that you can always access the best available odds, which is key to successful and profitable sports betting. So, if you want to take advantage of these incredible benefits and support our brand at the same time, please consider signing up for your next sportsbook through our link in the description below, signupexpert.com/boysinthebooth. If you're planning on signing up for a new sportsbook anyways, you might as well use our link and support the boys. So, one more time, that's signupexpert.com/boysinthebooth. This podcast is sponsored by SeatGeek, the absolute best ticket app out there. SeatGeek takes the confusion out of buying tickets, making it quick and easy to get the best deals to tickets at your favorite sporting event. SeatGeek does this awesome thing where they score each ticket out of 10 based on its value, so you know whether you're getting a good or a bad deal. Last time I got tickets to see the Devils play, I first saw red tickets. I waited it out, monitored the price in-app, and once I saw green, I pulled the trigger. SeatGeek makes it that easy. And here's the best part. SeatGeek has completely hooked us up. Boys in the Booth listeners get $20 off their first purchase on SeatGeek with the promo code BOYSINTHEBOOTH in all caps. Click the link in our description to download the app, and remember to get your discounted tickets using the code BOYSINTHEBOOTH in all caps. Get great seats for a fraction of the cost with SeatGeek.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun time to grow up having him in the game and, at his best as well. I remember being a kid and it was like either you were a Crosby guy or you were an Ovechkin guy. Like that. It's like,
yeah.
You know how you have to pick the starter in Pokemon and then you live with that for the rest of your life. I feel like we came out of the womb having to decide if we were going to be Crosby fans or Ovechkin fans. But it also was the case with when we were like 8 years old or 10 years old, there's so many kids that were just like Ovechkin fans.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, are you a Capitals fan? No, I'm a Sens fan or a Toronto fan. But they have they diehard Ovechkin fans. They have his jersey. He was the guy that you wanted to grab in every video game. He was before hockey games, you were watching Ovechkin highlight reels. If you weren't watching Scott Stevens blow someone up or guys getting punched in the face, you were watching Ovi absolutely dangle 5 guys and then roof it on the goalie. It was just he was so much to hockey. And so it's great. I, as a Devils fan, got to see a lot of his goals. Feel like there's 4 guys who've just been automatic. I can almost guarantee they're going to score when they play the Devils, and he's number 1. I think he has 38 against New Jersey, but it's 87 points in 77 games or something like that. Just absolutely automatic against New Jersey.
Yeah, geez. Ovi was the guy, if he came to town, to a game in Ottawa, if the Caps were playing the Sens, you would want to go just to see Ovechkin because he was so electric. And, the age that we are, being able to see Ovechkin's entire career, when he came into the league, I think we would have been around 8 years old, right? So I don't know about you guys, but my earliest hockey memories are far before I was 8 years old. So you look back on it now and it's oh wow, 8, do you even remember? But because you were just a kid. But No, like you absolutely remember every second of Ovechkin's career, and like breaking into the league with Sid, both as rookies. And you have to mention Sid because they're always going to be tied together for eternity, and they're both breaking records. Sid this year broke one of Gretzky's other records with the most point per game seasons consecutively, 20, which is insane. But when they broke into the league, it was after the lockout, right? We have to remember that. And the whole idea was these two players are essentially supposed to save the sport of hockey. Like,
Yeah.
especially Sid, who really had to save the Penguins, who were, you know, in turmoil before that and on the verge of being sold, right? Like, that's why Mario Lemieux bought into the team when he was still playing for them. But like, all of that aside, like all of the pressure that was on them, all of the buildup from the media and the fans and the rivalry in the playoff series year over year, like they both have lived up to the hype, which is just such an insane thing to say given how much hype was on these players. Like, we talk about, you know, Connor Bedard, or like before that it was probably like a McDavid. Before that, you know, who knows exactly. But in terms of first overall picks, the pressure that's put on players today is immense, but it doesn't compare to the pressure that was on those two players entering the league in the same season to literally save the NHL. And they did. Like, it's just incredible to see now that Ovi is almost at the end of his career, and he's the greatest goal scorer of all time in the same amount of games as Wayne Gretzky. Like, that's insane.
He's even made those comments in interviews before about him and Sid, saying, you know, our rivalry is going to save or be crucial to the NHL's success. Mm-hmm. And called it.
Yeah, exactly. Had a few questions for you guys. So one thing that happened today during the game was the mid-game ceremony after he scored the goal. Like, the game was stopped for like 20 minutes. A million people came out onto the ice, including the Gr8est himself. The microphone was passed around between the Gr8est and the Gr8est, and you know, there was a lot of it was a presentation. It was a ceremony. What do you guys think of that mid-game? Like, how do you get back into playing the game after breaking for 20 minutes? I thought that was crazy.
That's a lot, but I mean, the intermissions are like that too. So I don't think it's too strange. It's big for the game. It's an important moment, and it's the Islanders. Like, maybe if this was the Rangers or like Montreal or someone like that, I'd be a bit worried. I'd be a bit frustrated if I were on that team. But I mean, realistically, this is just another intermission for them, and they probably love to see it. That barn was packed with Capitals fans. Yeah. The place blew up when he scored, which is funny to see. You don't see too many away goals be cheered that hard, but you have to imagine that a lot of Caps fans bought those tickets up just to be able to say they were there. And I mean, if I was in New Jersey and he scored that goal, I'd still be cheering so hard.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, for sure. I thought it was great. Like, honestly, I really did. I think with that, it's all about being in the moment, right? Like, you can't delay the celebration until afterwards. Like, obviously it's going to continue, but I just feel like, you know, you had to do it right then and there. Like, the goal celebration, everybody coming onto the ice. Okay, it started. Let's get things rolling here, and then we have a game to finish. But no, I thought it was fantastic, and I just thought it was funny. It's like, holy geez, like, we've got 12 and a half minutes left in this second period to go here, and then another full third period after that. But I thought it was great. And yeah, Case, like you mentioned, that crowd at UBS Arena in Long Island, absolutely packed, absolutely electric, and the ticket prices beforehand, guys, to get seats on the glass, $11,000 a ticket. That was the price for this one, and as crazy as that is, boy, oh boy, I would have loved to be there today.
Oh yeah, for sure. And so I wanted to ask about the ceremony because, like, I think it's was the right move to do it after the goal, but it's just kind of crazy, then once it all wraps up and they clean up the red carpet and everything, it's like, well, we got 12 minutes left in the second period and Caps are down, and they score like 2 minutes after that as well to make it 3-1, I think it was at that time. And it's just like, the game doesn't matter, like we wanted to see Ovi, and I even joked like in our fantasy group chat, I was like, oh, thank God I don't have to watch the Islanders anymore. I can turn it off. But
yeah,
but
that's the first time the Islanders have been must-watch TV in a long time.
That's
exactly.
right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, geez.
I wanted to ask you guys one more question before we send it to the interview with Simon Mack. Harp, by all accounts, that was a good one. I'll have to listen to it when this episode drops as well. But I wanted to ask you guys, like, what is your favorite Ovechkin memory? Like, there's a lot of good ones out there. We've been blessed with 20 years of content from this guy, whether it's a goal, a fight, a celebration, you name it. Like, do you have a favorite Ovi memory?
First, I just want to say that how on brand was the celebration. He dives across the ice like he has to do something big. He's known for the celebrations. A lot of people will say some of their favorite moments is, when his stick was on fire and he's trying to put it out. And, sometimes you feel like he's going to go through the glass. He jumps in the glass so hard, but I don't know. I don't know if I have one that stands out necessarily as a favorite memory. There's a ton. There's a lot of being pissed off watching him score on the Devils, but I think his interactions with his teammates in the tunnel are my favorite Ovi moments. Like, every guy, he has a different thing he does, and I just couldn't imagine playing on that team, how good that feel. Just even like fourth line players, or like Duhaime the other day, like barking at him when he's coming out and saying no Bucky, and just like, you feel like that has to feel so good. The greatest goal scorer of all time being one of your buds, firing you up before the game. So I always love watching them in the tunnel.
100%. And I saw the video of Ryan Leonard before he played his first NHL game, and they were in the tunnel, and Corey sent me the video, and it's Ryan Leonard, like, kind of straight faced. You can tell he's like really, really nervous. And all the guys, it's like Ovi and Wilson and John Carlson or whoever it was, like, they're all just like bugging him and like pushing him and stuff. And it's just like, they're trying to make him feel less nervous in the moment. And it's just always led by Ovi. And it's just so great. That being said, Ryan Leonard should not have scored that empty net goal, by the way. Like, I think Ovi should have been on the ice and got the hat trick the other night.
He said no.
I don't want to score in a goal.
No.
I know.
And I get it. I get why he didn't want it.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, I love it too.
Yeah, well, I love it too. My bank account doesn't, because Ryan Leonard had to score the goal.
His first NHL goal, empty netter.
Dumb.
But just to go back to those the tunnel things, like, I think it was Duhaime. I could be corrected here, but it was his first game, and Tom Wilson says, "No Bucky for Dog or Dougie or whatever the hell they call them." And he's like, Ovi goes, "Oh yeah, no Bucky." Yeah. Meaning, like, they're going to pay his fine. That's what that means, for one. But then they just start barking as he comes out. And, like, your first NHL game, how electric would that feel with Ovi doing that and bands maker dance? Those are my favorite with him. He's just such a personality off the ice, and like, his commercials are all hilarious, especially that Sportsnet one where he's a undercover Russian spy, and all of his moments off the ice. It's like, just makes it so much more exciting to watch him play hockey, because he's a good guy on top of it.
100%.
Just such a weapon, man. Like, seeing him get off the plane and he's got a foot-long sub from Subway in his hand and a bag of hot Cheetos. Like, just eats whatever he wants, drinks whatever he wants. Like, the guy, Russian machine never breaks, right? Like, it's just, oh man, you just can't help but love the guy. And yeah, like, in terms of favorite Ovi moments, it's too hard to think of just one, but Chad, when you asked the question, the first thing I thought of obviously was the Stanley Cup win in 2018, and how electric that was for the Washington Capitals, that organization, and how fired up Ovi was. And then what he said to the crowd, like at the parade in DC, it's like, we know effing suck this year. Like that was just so great. And then in terms of like goals and stuff, like the first one that I thought of, do you guys remember that goal that he scored against Montreal? I believe it was the playoffs. He like banks it behind the back off the boards, then just takes off and goes in and scores on Price. And that was pretty electric. Obviously, there's that insane one, like on his knees and just like turns into a pretzel and slides it into the net. I think that was against Arizona as well. So I thought of those ones in particular. But yeah, I mean, there are so many great moments. Like you could spend hours and hours just jotting down great Ovi moments. He's a special person and certainly deserves to achieve this piece of history.
For sure. When I think of special moments, I mean, Harp, to touch on some of the things you said quickly, you know, him getting off the plane with Subway and hot Cheetos, like someone said it last week. I forget who I was listening to, but someone said, like, you know, some players when they retire have a hard time keeping the pounds off. And like you can point to a few, you know, famously like Jeff O'Neill is a guy who gets, you know, talked about a lot for that. He has since slimmed down and he's been on a good regimen there. But a few guys, like you look around the league and once they stop, they just put the Bills on, and that seems like what Ovi is going to do. Like I could see him just blowing up and being just as athletic, but just in terms of a guy who crushes beers and loves his snacks, and like I could see that. Couldn't you?
But at the same time, that exact same thing is what leads me to believe he can play 5 more years, because it's not like he's in this supreme shape that's going to go away. Like he's already just like, I don't know,
100%.
got the bit of a athletic dad bod going on, and Russian machine never breaks. So
yeah,
like there's the video of him playing volleyball on the beach, and this was like either last off season or the one before that, and all the comments are like, this guy is the best goal scorer to ever play, like, and he's just huge. But what were you gonna say, Harp?
Or just quick, the video of him scoring in that professional soccer game and the Dynamo Minsk. He's just like plows through the guy and goes in and scores a goal, and he just doesn't. It's like, who's this unit? Oh, it's the greatest hockey or goal scorer in hockey history. Oh yeah, of course.
These like 5'9" mosquitoes are like bumping into his shoulder, and he's like, "Ugh, go away."
And that, oh my god, and that team, like they love to party. Like I just I get that vibe, and especially after they won the cup in 2018,
summer of Ovi.
It was the summer of Ovi, but then after that, when it was the playoff bubble, and Washington, of course, made the playoffs. It's Todd Reardon's first year behind the bench, and the Caps are just they're coming off of their cup win and all of that, and it may have not have been 2019. Sorry, I'm screwing this up, but when was the playoff bubble?
That was 2020.
2020. Okay, thank you.
Because the season got canceled March 13th, I believe, and there were like around 15 games left or so for each team.
So playoff bubble 2020, and like Emerson and I laugh about this constantly because obviously there was that video of like Kuznetsov, like, you know, pouring the white stuff out on the table and like whatever, and then you heard after. In that playoff bubble, like Washington went out in the first round and under Todd Reardon, who was the assistant coach before, and then turned into the head coach after Barry Trotz left and went to the Islanders. But I guess during the bubble, apparently, like all the narrative around the team was that they just slacked off. Like they treated it as a vacation, like guys hanging out by the pool, drinking beers. Like,
Yeah, I remember them getting in trouble because they were supposed to be like in their rooms quarantining, and they kept getting caught like drinking together in the rooms. And it's like
that's so awesome. And even today, it's an afternoon game, so the game ends at like whatever, like 3:00, right? And or probably I guess later because of the whole ceremony. Call it 3:30. And he's crushing beers in his post game interview. So, and like, there's a video of him giving a speech in the room, and like 10 seconds before it, he cracks a Bud Light or whatever it is, and so he's great, man. But
he is, yeah.
I wanted to choose my favorite Ovi memory, and then we can send it to the interview here.
Sure.
I have a couple. Case, you mentioned one of them. It's the hot stick. That's number one. The hot stick celebration, only because of what it represents. Like, the NHL was so buttoned up for so long, and all the players were so they lacked personality, or at least on camera lacked personality. And Ovi shows up in his rookie year with a tinted visor, with yellow skate laces, with pant laces that go all the way down past his knees, the jersey tucked, like everything, right?
His
like
pants were pretty much capris on top of that.
That's right. Like anything you could, and he had the elbow pads like exposed from the jersey and everything, right? So, and when
he's
scores,
a created skater.
Like, yes, literally. And so I don't remember what year it was, but when he scored, I think it was his 50th that season, and he does the hot stick celebration, and Don Cherry's yelling about it in intermission, and it's like, this is great. Like, we haven't seen this in so long. That's the hot stick celebration represents everything that is Ovi to me, and that's why it's up there as one of my favorite moments. The next one, Harp, you mentioned it as well. It's the goal against Phoenix, and there's a few reasons why. Number one, it's just an incredible goal, right? Like, that goal will never be replicated. And poor Phoenix, like, I feel like they've been on the receiving end of some of the best goals of all time.
That one and the Rick Nash one. Remember
That's right,
guys?
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Little dance inside out. Yeah. Yep. So they've been on the receiving end of those goals. But you'll never recreate that one. A few other wrinkles, though. I think most people know that Wayne Gretzky was the coach of the Phoenix Coyotes at the time that this happened. So there's the famous video of Gretzky looking up from the Coyotes bench at the Jumbotron, watching that goal and just being like, geez. And that's like, it's on his face. Obviously, he's not thinking this guy's going to be the next greatest goal scorer of all time, but clearly he's thinking, who is this rookie and what did he just do? Because that was incredible. I think he was a rookie when he did that, right? I think that was his first season, or it was at least early because he had.
I think so.
Yeah, the old jerseys there. But, And another wrinkle too is that Austin Matthews was in the crowd for that game, which has been talked about a lot in Toronto media. But for those outside of Toronto, you probably didn't know that his uncle had season tickets to the Coyotes and brought him to the game, and so you've got 3 generations of incredible goal scorers. And, I think it's far too early to be talking about who could be the next greatest goal scorer, but it could have been that little boy watching Ovi score that goal in Phoenix from the crowd. Could be Austin Matthews. Could be next. That's why it's one of my favorite moments.
No, for sure. Great dig up there. Absolutely. Because you're right. I think, anyone who on the outside who maybe doesn't listen to Toronto radio and Leafs talk and all of that wouldn't pick that up. So that's a good poll for sure.
Yep.
Case, anything else to add just on Ovi, special moments, memories, anything else?
No, like I said, he's just meant so much for so long to us, and happy to see him get it. And the fact that, early on in this season, we're saying, you think he'll do it? You think he'll do it this season? Maybe it's probably next season. It's probably next season. Yeah. Little did we know he'd be scoring at a 54 goal pace. Just absolutely unstoppable out there. So, yeah, he's inevitable. Always has been. Especially against the Devils. I said 4 guys are inevitable against the Devils. Can you guess 3 others? We've talked about one a lot tonight.
Is it Sid?
Yep.
Yeah.
The other one's been mentioned very recently by Chad.
That makes sense. Is it Austin?
Austin Matthews is inevitable against the Devils. And the 4th one you'll never get, so I'll give it to you. Known Devil killer Oliver Bjorkstrand.
Okay.
Scores every time he plays the Devils. It's ridiculous.
Interesting.
Now,
nice like Nick Tangent for you there.
Even as a member of the Tampa Bay Lightning now?
I think they've played once since, and he did not score.
He did not. Okay.
We'll have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, for sure.
So Case is just saying that some of the best players in the game score against his team. It's shocking.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not really the case. Like, you know who doesn't have a lot of goals against the Devils? Like Steven Stamkos, or like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not everyone. It just so happens to be that like Oliver Bjorkstrand, the best goal scorer in the league. Is that what you're saying?
You know who is a Leaf killer? And, you know, speaking of Sid, it's the other guy. It's Malkin. Anytime they play, Malkin has like 2-1, and he's like a +4, and they win like 6-2. Like for the longest time that would happen. Now, obviously, the Penguins aren't very good, but yeah, absolute Leaf killer. I had one more thing to say as well. I'm very happy for the team, for the Capitals, that this happened now, so soon before the end of the season, because we saw last year with Austin Matthews, for example, chasing 70 goals, that it just becomes such a distraction down the stretch. You're not playing hockey. You're not getting ready for the playoffs. You're just trying to chase this like goofy thing, and you're trying to feed them even when you have your own shot. And so for the Caps' sake and for their playoff chances, I'm happy that it happened now, because it was a total distraction for the Leafs. Matthews never got to 70, and it was just a total joke down the stretch. And so I'm happy they did it.
100%, man. Emerson brought that up today, and I think it's a great point. The Capitals, they've had a remarkable season, one of the best teams in the National Hockey League. Who would have thought? Like it's just been an incredible year for them. And but yeah, there's no question. Like, this has been a huge distraction, and I'm sure everyone is glad that it's over at the same time, and just get back to playing hockey and not with nothing kind of hanging over your head. Because lately, you know, the Capitals have had some leaky performances. Like this game today, as great of a moment as it was for Alex Ovechkin, they did end up losing the game to the New York Islanders. And, you know, they had that crazy game against Carolina. They had a loss against Buffalo. So they've had some leaky performances lately. And not to mention the fact that Logan Thompson and Alexi Protas were both out today, and they need to get healthy before the start of the playoffs. So, yes, great point. Totally agree with that for sure. Yeah. Anyway, just a special time, fellas. It's been an incredible season. We're almost at the end of it, and I am just so excited for the playoffs. And, you know, after the trade deadline early March, it was all about Ovi and the great chase, and he's finally done it on April 6th. 2025. You can mark it down as the day that we saw the greatest goal scorer in NHL history pass Wayne Gretzky by 895 goals in the long, illustrious career for Alexander Ovechkin. Pretty special stuff. All right, we have an interview to get to now to finish off the pod, and this is a great one. I think all of you guys listening will really enjoy it. This is an interview with Brockville native Simon Mack. He is the captain of Penn State hockey, and Penn State is playing in the Frozen Four next weekend in St. Louis. And Simon is in his 4th year at Penn State. He's a great kid, a great hockey player, and gets a chance at a national championship. And this is the first year ever that Penn State has been in the Final Four. So pretty cool for Simon to be a part of that, and pretty cool for us to get him on. So enjoy this conversation with Simon Mack, captain of Penn State hockey. Joining us now on the Boys in the Booth podcast is Brockville native and the captain of the Penn State men's hockey team. It is defenseman Simon Mack. Simon, how you doing, man? Thank you so much for hopping on with us here.
I'm doing great, Harper. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. It's great to see you again for sure. The last time I saw you would have been at a Brockville Braves game, and then before that, in a Brockville Braves jersey. So before we get to, your fourth year at Penn State here, and you guys getting to the NCAA's Frozen Four next weekend, just reflect on your time in Brockville a little bit. Playing for Jesse Winchester and the memories that you have.
Yeah, I've got some great memories. Obviously playing in Brockville, and for a team who I grew up watching, and going to their games on Friday night, we go and we watch the Braves play. So, playing there, obviously a dream for me, and had a great 2 years there with Jesse. Unbelievable coach. I feel like I really developed as a player, and as a person. Got to finish my high school in Brockville. So it was obviously a great stepping stone for me to, on my road to coming to Penn State.
And when you got to Penn State, just how did you feel? What was your reaction seeing everything for the first time and getting on the ice in the blue and white colors?
Yeah, it was unbelievable to say the least. Penn State. Now that I've been here 4 years, it's, you really get a sense for how special this place is. But, when I first stepped on campus right away, you look at the facilities, the fans we get, just the support from the community is unbelievable. It's something I've really just tried to soak up, during my time here. And it's been a great 4 years, and obviously not done yet, with the Frozen Four coming up here soon. So, hoping to end on a high note.
How did it feel to be named captain?
It was awesome. Tremendous honor, and there's so many leaders in our locker room too, so it makes it all the more special. Honestly, we don't even really look at it as who's a captain. We have a team and a leadership group who we all lead in different ways, kind of thing. There's guys who are more vocal, or guys that kind of just a little bit more silent but lead by example. So it's a great mix, and I think it's one of the reasons why we've seen some success this year for sure.
You mentioned this is your fourth year, and you've had a fantastic season. Looking at your numbers on the back end for Penn State, you have 29 points in 39 games. Just terrific offensive output. Your best season yet at Penn State. Why do you think that is?
I think it's just confidence in my game that I've kind of you build that throughout your time. I definitely got more of a role this year as far as some power play and stuff like that. Some more than I'd seen in the past, and I just tried to take it and run with it, and like I said, play with confidence, and I feel I've done a good job of that, and I've been lucky to see some results for sure.
No, that's great. And obviously it is college free agent season in the National Hockey League. Ryan Leonard, of course, made his debut last night with the Washington Capitals. And, we're hearing about guys like Gabe Perreault and Jacob Fowler. The list goes on. At that level, whether it's one of those guys or maybe someone that we haven't mentioned, who is that guy that you've gone up against and you're like, wow, he's a good player and he's tough to play against?
Well, for me, I don't really have to look too far. We've got a top 10 Hobie finalist on our team. The Nashville 7th rounder from a couple years ago, and he's just this guy is so skilled, but he's also so reliable on the defensive side of the puck too. He's such a great skater. His skills are just off the charts. So I don't think he's hard to go up against in practice. That's for sure. But I don't think it'll be too long before a lot more people are seeing him play in the National Hockey League.
I know you won't be able to get into specifics, Simon, but have you had any conversations with any American League or NHL teams?
There's been some kind of talks and stuff with my advisor and whatnot, but
Yeah,
yeah, obviously no specifics, but
yeah.
I think a lot of that will kind of hopefully come to fruition once the season wraps up a little bit. But like I said a few minutes ago, the focus right now for us is just on the Frozen Four and doing all we can to prepare for Boston University and put our best foot forward for our first program, our first Frozen Four program history.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will get to that in a second, I promise. But, when I was watching the finish to that game last weekend in order to advance and just seeing the way it ended there against UConn, excuse me, I heard the broadcasters just describe you as a defenseman with so much poise, and I'm sure that you would say that that is correct. So, who are those defensemen in the National Hockey League that you look up to and you try to model your game after?
Yeah, kind of as an undersized defenseman myself, I love to watch guys, like Adam Fox, Quinn Hughes, Torrey Krug. Even I grew up a Bruins fan,
Yeah.
and kind of idolized Bobby Orr growing up. My dad was a Bruins fan. Would watch Bobby Orr's, movies and films and stuff from back in the day. So just that kind of offensive style defenseman, as are players I love to watch. Guys that are responsible defensively as well. But like you said, guys like Adam Fox and Quinn Hughes, they play with so much poise and are excellent skaters too. Some of those attributes are what I would consider strengths in my game as well. So definitely, those are definitely some players I love to watch.
And as a Bruins fan, I'm sure you've been watching a guy like Mason Lowry, who has really taken a step this year.
Yeah, absolutely. He's somebody I played against in the Big Ten as well. When he was with Ohio State and when he was in the USHL with Green Bay too. And there's a guy who's he's got more size, but he's once again really poised as a defenseman. He's got that offensive side to his game, and he's a great skater as well. So yeah, I've definitely got a chance to catch some of his games this year. He's having a great season.
Well, if Don Sweeney and company, if you are listening, whether it's the Bruins or the Providence Bruins, make sure you give Simon Mack a contract. Anyway, all right, let's get to the Frozen Four and the way that you guys got there. Your teammate Matt DeMarsico's overtime goal against UConn, the 3-2 victory. That building went absolutely nuts. Just take us through that.
Yeah, it was insane. We were lucky that we had we're the host of the regional in Allentown, and it's only a couple hours away from Penn State, so we essentially had a chunk of our student section right in the building, and so many people from Pennsylvania and Penn State supporters. So, when he scored that goal, the place just erupted. And obviously, so much emotion. And you look at the people that have set the foundation for this program and who have gotten it to where it is today, and see the smiles on their faces and the joy kind of thing. We had a lot of alumni in the building too, so it was just a really special moment for Penn State and Penn State hockey.
Absolutely. Liam Folks is a former Brockville Brave like yourself, also went to Penn State. Have you talked to him at all throughout your whole time there, and even after getting the school's first ever berth to the NCAA Final Four?
Yeah, Folksy's been around. I met him in one of my, I think it was either my first or second summer when I'd come down and train in the summers, and Folksy would be around. This is when he was still playing some pro, but so we've got to build a little bit of a relationship, and obviously with the connection with Brockville too. It's been special to see him, and he was an unbelievable player here, and scored the huge goal to give them their Big Ten championship in 2017, I think it was. So obviously, huge legend of Penn State hockey, and yeah, it's been awesome to build a relationship with him.
When you hear that Simon Mack is a part of the Penn State men's hockey team that has achieved history, getting the program to the Final Four for the first time in the school's history, when you hear that, what goes through your mind?
It's it's something we set out for at the beginning of the not just to get to the Frozen Four, but to win a national championship. So for me, and I know everybody in our locker room, we feel, it's an accomplishment for sure, but at the same time, we're hungry to win the whole thing. Um, so we've got a checklist plaque in the lounge outside of our locker room. It's got kind of the major milestones of Penn State hockey, and the only two we've got left. Well, now the only one we have left to check off is a national championship for the program. So we've checked one of the two remaining boxes on that checklist by winning the regional this past weekend, but there's one more to go. So definitely a lot of excitement with that, and we can feel proud of ourselves, but there's still a big one to go here.
Yeah, definitely love that. Love the checklist in the room and all of that to get you prepared and ready to go. Last one for you, Macker, and again, really appreciate your time here on the podcast today. You go through all of the emotions of getting to the final or the Frozen Four, excuse me, and then okay, it's like we have to reset here and get prepared and be ready to go. So how do you manage your excitement and preparation and just being ready to go for the Frozen Four next weekend at the Enterprise Center in St. Louis? Just how do you manage all of those things, and just talk about your excitement and how fun and electric it's going to be?
Yeah, it's tough. The emotions were certainly firing after the game, and we bring the regional trophy back, and we get back to our rink at, I think it was midnight, and we've got like a ton of fans like waiting at our loading dock of our rink, just like waiting for us to come out and cheering us on and taking pictures with our our ticket that they give us to St. Louis. So it's there were a ton of emotions. So it was nice. We got a day off and just kind of reset and kind of come back to the earth, so to speak. Um, but now, the focus is just on, trying to get better in practice, focusing on what has made us successful and just trying to keep being consistent at that and, competing, being competitive in practice. And obviously our coaching staff, they'll do a great job of, putting together a pre-scout for, Boston University. But like I said, the focus is on us. And at the end of the day, we got to be pros and got to be ready for, all the lights and the emotions that come with going to Frozen Four.
Absolutely. Simon, this has been great. Thank you so much. All of us in Brockville are rooting for you and the rest of your Penn State teammates. Captain Simon Mack of Penn State men's hockey leading the way into the Frozen Four in the NCAA next weekend in St. Louis. Macker, best of luck to you and your teammates, and thank you so much for your time today, brother.
Thank you, Harper. Really appreciate it.